Hi everyone, and welcome to Live, Eat and Heal. On the 1st of August, I have another detox program which starts, and this is going to run over 60 days. This detox program is divided into 3 phases. The first phase is the elimination phase, which runs over 21 days. The second phase is another 21 days as well, which is the recalibration phase. And the last phase is the reset phase, where we reset our bodies for health, basically. I've mentioned in my previous videos that we cannot detox the body. We cannot detox the body, but the intelligent divine body does the detox. What we need to do is to create a conducive atmosphere for the body to detox, a good environment where the body can get to detox. So this is what we'll be doing in those 60 days, giving the body a conducive atmosphere so it can do what it does best. Because the moment you do that, the inherent healing properties of the body are jump-started. So let's look at the first 21 days. The first 21 days, elimination phase. I call it the elimination phase because this is when we get rid of certain food groups. Things like processed foods, foods with preservatives. These foods, we need to dump them, we need to throw them away, out of the fridge, out of the freezer, out of the pantry, out of the kitchen, out of your mind, out of your sight, because these foods get to be so problematic in the gut. So we get rid of them so that the kitchen is clear and we empty so we can shop for natural foods. What is natural food? Natural food is food in its natural form without a second ingredient. The moment you add something to it, you need another third ingredient so that they mix properly. Once you do that, you are interfering with nature, and nature is a finished product. We cannot invent or we cannot improve on nature. It is just right as it is, and it's perfect as it is. So that's what we're going to eat on the first 21 days, food in its natural form. So get rid of all preservatives, processed foods. There's another side to it as well. We put on hold 3 food groups. And these 3 food groups are your dairy, your legumes, and your grains. Why? I'm sure you are asking. They are healthy foods and they are from nature, and you can have them without adding anything to it. Yes, you're very right. But what happens with grains and legumes is they are plants, and what plants do to save themselves from extinction or from predators, from insects, they build a wall around them, a defense protein around them to protect themselves. As you know, in the jungle, animals run away from predators. They run away from each other. A porcupine, the moment it feels in danger, exactly, it will attack. So this is what happens with plants. So they build that wall. It's a means of attacking and defending themselves. So what happens when we eat these defense proteins? They are very problematic in the gut. This is why most people end up with leaky gut, and when it goes through, you end up with autoimmune disease like I did. I ended up with systemic lupus erythematosus. It was because I was eating some of these foods thinking they are very healthy, but they were actually problematic to me in the gut, and when they got into the system, I ended up with SLE. So what we need to do is to put these foods on hold. So what are grains? By grains, I'm looking at wheat, your barley, your millet, your corn, oats, all that is grain, and anything you can think of that comes from there. Your flour, your pasta, your bread, your cookies, your cakes, that's all from grains because you've got flour there. Legumes, I'm looking at your baked beans, your chickpeas, lentil, butter beans, anything that is legume, and peanuts as well. Peanuts fall under legumes. So all that we put on hold for 21 days. Dairy. Dairy has a different reason why we put it on hold. It's because dairy is full of growth hormones for the calf, and it's also full of antibodies to protect the calf. It's an immune system, defense system for the calf. And when we consume milk, depending, some people actually, they end up thinking they have an allergy, but it's not an allergy. What's happening is your body is trying to fight these antibodies which are meant for a calf. And again, for those who put on weight, because it's full of growth hormones, this is why people keep piling weight, because you are having growth hormones which are meant for a calf. So they will do what they do best and make you grow. So this is why we put dairy on hold as well. So that's the first 21 days. So we'll just eat natural food, and that's food in its natural form. Some people might be asking, what else can I have if I'm not having pasta? There's so much you can have in its natural form. You can have butternuts, you can have pumpkins, you can have potatoes, you can have sweet potatoes, you can have courgettes, you can have baby marrows, you can have cauliflower. I have a very good recipe on my site about cauliflower rice, how to make cauliflower rice, and how to make noodles from butternuts, and broccoli rice as well. So there's so much you can do just from eating foods in their natural form without looking at the grains. So that is your first 21 days. Then we get to the second stage, which is the recalibration phase. In this recalibration phase, day 22, which falls on a Monday, we then start introducing dairy. So you continue eating like you've been doing the first 21 days. 21 days, why? Habits form in 21 days. So that's why we do it for 21 days. So on day 22, come introduce milk, dairy. So you might want to have milk, cheese, yogurt, or any other product which comes from milk, and see what happens. This is why your diary needs to be handy, and you need to write out everything, this any slightest symptoms, because that's your thumbprint, because that tells you whether this food group is for you or is not for you. On the Tuesday, we continue eating healthy like we've been doing in the first 21 days, and we stop eating the milk, introducing the milk. Why? Because we want the body to heal in the next 6 days. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the body is healing. And then on Monday, we introduce grains. And by grains, you can have your cornmeal, your sadza, your rice, your pasta, your bread, your cookies, and see what happens. So you do this on Monday, just introducing them to all that you've been eating, which is healthy. And again, you observe and you write down everything which is happening, because that's your thumbprint. Listen to your body. Your body is the greatest physician of all time. And we don't listen to our bodies. We ignore our bodies. When the body comes out with a symptom, it's crying out to you and saying, you know what, friend? You're actually giving me something I'm struggling with. For example, in my case, when I had lupus, I silenced those symptoms by going on to anti-inflammatories and steroids, but my body was screaming for a very good reason. It was basically saying, wait a minute, please have a look at what you're doing. You're overtaxing us. You are making us work harder and harder and harder. But the route I knew best as an intensive care nurse was to pop pills and to silence it. But I never won that war, because the body was still there working for me, because the body knows what is happening. There's so many things the body does without us getting involved. So we should be thankful that the body does what it does. And when it's talking to us, communication is two ways. When the body is talking, we must listen and respond. But what we do nowadays is, when the body starts talking, we silence it. It screams, we silence. Obesity is one thing as well. I was wearing a size 22, I went up to 100 kilos, and my body was saying to me, wait a minute, look what you're doing. This is what's going to happen. But I didn't listen. And when I listened to my body, I started releasing weight effortlessly. And right now I fit comfortably into a size 12, and I'm down to 69 kilos. So it is very important to dialogue with the body. We know how to run gadgets, so many things, but for some reason we cannot listen to our bodies. I think this is the time we start listening to our bodies. People talk about spring cleaning their houses, taking their cars for service, anything, the train, everything, any machine, it goes for service. But we forget to service our bodies. People talk about upgrading their houses, but we never talk about upgrading our bodies. Seeing what is it, let's spring clean our bodies, let's upgrade our bodies to a higher level where we give our bodies healthy food, healthy drinks all the time, so it can do what it does best, because there are so many things the body does without us thinking. Formation of tears. When you're crying, you don't actually say to the body, oh please, can I have some tears, I just want to cry here. The moment your emotions come up, the tears follow. How does that happen? It's because the body is so intelligent, but we actually block it. We actually block it and think it's not that clever. We think it's stupid. We'll decide, we'll do this, but without listening to it. So yes, we finished our reintroduction of the 3 food groups. The last bit is the reset phase. The reset phase is for 18 days. And I base this reset phase on what our ancestors, or how our ancestors before the agricultural revolutions used to live. And that's sunset signaled the end of all meals. So this is what we try and do in this last phase, where we have our last meal at sunset and not eat until the next day. So in doing so, we'll have fasted for a good 12, 14 to 16 hours, depending on the last, what time you had your last meal. So we are incorporating some form of intermittent fasting, because when you are resting, when you are not eating, the body gets to do other things. This is when detox happens. This is when autophagy happens. Autophagy comes from the Greek word self-eating. This is when the body forms membrane that go about looking for cells which are not functioning properly, cells which are dying, and it gobbles them, recycles them, and makes them for energy or for making new cells. So this is when the body does it, because this works in opposite to metabolism. When you eat, you release insulin. Insulin is an anabolic hormone. It starts building and storage. When you stop eating, insulin is low, and detox and autophagy are stimulated, and they work opposite to insulin. They do not work together at the same time. So this explains why we've been putting on weight, because we'll eat till midnight. We never get the time to rest the body so that insulin levels can go down. Because once you control insulin levels to go down, then you can lose weight, because then you've got the autophagy, which is the catabolic. This is breaking down of cells happening, and all the healing properties, healing properties of the body being jump started, and everything else going on. So the next day when you start eating, then it means your insulin is released, and obviously with other things as well. It's not just insulin. And then the building starts and the storage starts. And this is actually on hold until when you actually rest for at least a good 12 to 14 hours. So this is what we incorporate in the last phase, which is the reset phase. And this will take us right up to day 60. Who is for detox? To be honest, everyone. If you are obese, yes, you need to control that insulin monster. Which times are you eating? What foods are you eating? Are you eating refined sugars, refined carbohydrates? Because these are the foods we get rid of over the weekend. Just this weekend, we're going to get rid of that if we are going into the detox. If you've got diabetes mellitus type 2, same thing. What are you eating? Your insulin levels are always high. You need to get rid of all these foods. If you are overweight, if you suffer from autoimmune disease, maybe the grains, the legumes, or the dairy are being problematic to the gut, and this is why you end up with inflammation somewhere and you present with Hashimoto's, SLE, psoriasis, psoriatic arthritis. There's so many of them, Graves' disease, multiple sclerosis. There's just so many of them. So this is why you need to try it out. You can continue with all the medication your consultant is giving you, because this advice is from a nutritional point. At the end of the day, even if your doctor prescribes this medication, you will drink your medication, but continue taking your medication. But when you come home, you still have to make the right food choices. And I am saying, if you invite me into your home just for 60 days, starting the 1st of August, you will be amazed. You will be amazed with your health, and you will start seeing results on just changing your food choices and just being conscious about what goes into your kitchen and what goes into your mouth. So if you haven't signed up, please sign up to the detox program. It's not too late at all. The link is just below. You can start preparing your kitchens just tomorrow. Tomorrow you start emptying, and then you start shopping over the weekend, all the foods you enjoy. The most important thing I always say to people is make sure you enjoy this journey. We need to enjoy food. Food is a social tool. It's a social tool, and we need to enjoy it. As long as we make the right food choices, we shouldn't be scared of eating food or scared of eating that. But as long as we are making the right food choices and we are synchronizing and flowing in nature, it is important to do that and to enjoy your food. So yes, remember to eat well, to live healthy. Bye.